Well, there's a lot of attention right now on pot. Now that Colorado is allowing sales of marijuana for recreational use, but there are new questions over whether the focus should really be on alcohol. A CDC study finding 38 million Americans drink too much, and that healthcare providers are not doing enough to warn people about the risks. Lauren Ashburn is a Fox News contributor and media analyst on Media Buzz, right here on Fox. Jill Zarin is a former cast member of The Real Housewives of New York City. And Dr. Tara Ullman is an OB/GYN. Well, good to see you, ladies. And let me start off with the doctor, because startling stats that 1 in 10 Americans drink too much. Should we be more concerned about our drinking than our smoking?
Well, I want to set a note for the country that, according to the American Heart Association, 1 to 2 glasses of alcohol a day actually helps prevent heart disease. Having said that, that was 1 to 2 glasses, right? So we're talking about moderation here.
Right. All right. So now let's look at a new poll, Jill, because I want to show you what this says about what Americans think about pot smoking versus drinking alcohol. So look at this. Which one do you think is more dangerous? Marijuana, only 12%. Alcohol, 73%. Why?
Oh, you know, that's an interesting study, and I've never seen that, and I'm curious to know what the answer is versus what you think. You think that, but what actually is the answer, which is more dangerous, I don't know. I think that, you know, your lungs, protecting your lungs against any kind of smoking is not a good thing.
Well, maybe they're thinking about driving potentially, meaning dangerous in the sense of after you're inebriated, maybe it's more dangerous.
Well, I think alcohol, if I had to guess, is more dangerous because you're more likely to fall asleep at the wheel and drinking late at night. I tell my husband all the time, you know, 1 to 2 glasses is not 12. And I see it, you know, over the holidays, an enormous amount of drinking going on, and then people get into their cars, and I wonder to myself, you know, these restaurants that are serving all this alcohol, who's responsible for all the things that happen to these people afterwards?
But Lauren, you would think, and I know you have kids, young kids, and there's been so much education about smoking cigarettes, and yet not as much potential education, I guess, about smoking pot, as far as if you're going to talk about lungs. So why do you see this trend where people think that alcohol is more dangerous than smoking pot?
Well, as for talking about kids, I have a 13-year-old, and right now they're doing drug prevention, alcohol and drug prevention in school. And the law that has just come up has made it very difficult for teachers to talk about don't do drugs, you know, don't get on this. And it's very mixed signals for them. But in terms of alcohol, I think that in the schools and in my son's school, what they're doing is weighting it equally as equal offenders, if you will.
Well, before we change topics, doctor, what is the hazard comparing alcohol to pot medically?
It's just so much easier to get your hands on alcohol, right? All age groups. I think really the concern for marijuana probably in the older group is less concerning, right? I think probably the baby boomers are reliving their glory days back when they were first using marijuana. I think the concern is probably really for the young people, right? We don't want young people to be introduced to substances like this, which will then potentially lead to use of maybe heavier drugs. That's really the bottom line here.
All right, changing gears completely. Some new high-tech pajamas for kids are out. They've got polka dots, each containing a code for a bedtime story. So to hear it, you hold a smartphone over any dot, snap a picture. As long as you have the free Smart PJs story app, the story starts to launch. Yep, they're called Smart PJs. Lauren, is this a good idea or not? Because when I first heard about this, I thought, okay, so now we're going to put a kid to bed with no parent, and they're going to sit there with their phone and listen to Goodnight Moon.
Right, but the problem is we've all been there. We've all been there where you're trying to give the kid the shorter book rather than the longer book. But there's and I also want to say, this is what I've heard, right? But I do want to say this is a great invention. I think it has to be used properly. The way that the entrepreneur sees it as togetherness. You know, you read it together. But
well, that's the way they're selling it, Jill. They're showing the parent hugging the kid. But what's the reality? You love it?
I love it. I love it because the future is technology. The future is streaming. The future is all this stuff. You're going to teach a child at a very young age already about technology. It's getting into their sort of their DNA, and they can't do it alone. Well, you have to have a parent teach them how to do it. Okay. So, I mean, they're never going to be alone reading the book.
I unfortunately got to go there because we got a Fox News alert right now. A lot of breaking news today. We're going to go back to the White House right now.